So using one of these Klein Tool Ethernet connection tools, this will strip and also attach or compress the ends of these what are called pass-through Ethernet ends. So these right here, the Cat5e feed through RJ45, and that just allows the wires to go through, so you don't actually have to strip the individual strands. You push them through the end. This tool then will cut off the remaining pieces and compress in the tongs or the little barbs inside it. You can kind of see that metal spike there that pushes up into the wire, and that makes the connection. Now that I've put this in there, and this is not fully wired, so don't judge on that yet, that'll be completed. And I'll also be grounding. This is a shielded, and you can see this little copper wire there. That will be put on a grounding lug inside here, coupled with the grounding from the electrical that goes in there. That runs all the way to the house. This is roughly, I think it's 400 feet, or maybe 415 feet in total. I bought wire that was 450, so I ran that and noted in my last video that it was 450 feet of wire, but obviously the electric run is longer than the Ethernet run by about 20 feet just for where it connects to the panel. And then there was the overcompensation for one of the best adages when you're doing electrical work is the most expensive wire you will buy is the wire that is too short. So I knew that this was about 420 feet, so I bought 30 extra feet of wire just because it's better to have a couple extra feet of UF cable than it is to not. So the realistic length of the Ethernet side of this run, this little guy here, which will be at the gate, is probably closer to 380 feet. The maximum for Ethernet runs is roughly 315. I think it's 100 meters. But what we'll do now is I have a Raspberry Pi, and I'll plug that in at the house at the router. I'll go to fast.com and I'll check my Ethernet speed, download, upload speed, and see what that gives me. And then I'll do it exactly again at the gate and see what kind of latency and what kind of difference I get by just going out to this run. Again, I'm not running high bandwidth internet out at my gate. There's no one doing any cool gaming out there or anything. It will be a single camera that will be run out there. But for the next part of this, you'll see me doing a demo test. And for the highly scientific exploration of the speed, we're using the PlayStation's Ethernet plug because I didn't have a short Ethernet cable in by the router. So I'll just go to fast.com, and on this I have turned off, you can visually see on the Pi here, I have the wireless network turned off, and we're on to fast.com. And this will tell me how fast I'm getting right now. And it's jumping all around because, you know, it's not a short run, but I would say this run is about 50 feet, maybe a little bit shorter than that in total. Actually, no, this is a static length cable. I didn't cut this one. So this is a 50-foot Cat6. So this is a true to length. So this is what I do gaming on. And this is telling me that I have pretty healthy speed there. We'll get some more info. So you can see the loaded versus unloaded. And we're getting some additional data points loading in there. But that's what we're seeing as the latency and the speed from in the house, regular interior run. Now let's go check that at the gate. A little bit harder to see in this outdoor lighting on the Pi screen, but you can see I only have the wired network turned on. I'm gonna restore my pages, and this is out at the gate. So we'll restore, and then we're on fast. And look at that. I am getting still a reasonable speed of internet. Now, is that way slower than what I had inside? Certainly that's slower. But if you look at my loaded and unloaded latencies, they're not really that terrible. And 71 megabits a second isn't that terribly slow. That's actually incredibly fast. And if all I need is a simple video camera at my gate, this is sufficient. So I'll do an exact measurement, but I believe the total wire length run for this Ethernet cable is roughly 380 feet, which is about 70 feet or 80 feet longer than what is recommended when running Ethernet. So to answer the question, can you run Ethernet longer than 100 meters or 300 and a few feet? The answer is yes. Do you lose speed? Certainly you do. And in this case, you're down to nearly 10% of the original bandwidth that was available. But do you need the entirety of that bandwidth at the end of that wire run is what you have to determine. What amount can you lose before you have to make a change? So the answer is run it if you can get away with the bandwidth reduction that happens.